Today we're checking out the silicone case from Apple in Midnight for the iPhone SE. This case has some neat features, but does not come cheap. And the question is the silicone case from Apple for the iPhone SE worth it? As always, I will leave all the purchase links below the like button. Let's get started. Starting things off with the unboxing. As always from Apple, we get minimalistic and clean packaging with a picture of the case on the front and a green pull tab to open. Inside the box, we see the case, and immediately I can see that this is not black, and in fact looks very similar to Apple's silicone case for the iPhone 13 that I reviewed last year. I'll talk more about color in a sec. So of course, for my Midnight iPhone SE, I chose the Midnight color on the silicone case, and the two pair perfectly. But just before I put the case on the phone, just want to show you the inside, as the inside of the case is lined with this microfiber finish. And this is great because this is going to minimize chances of scratching or damaging your phone when taking it in and out of the case from any dust as well as dirt that can build up in between the case and the phone over time. Let's go ahead and put the case on the phone here. So as the box suggested, we're gonna go from top and then push in the bottom like so. And there we go. That has a very tight and of course perfect fit around the phone as you'd expect from a case made by Apple for Apple. So once the case is on the phone, it has a really nice and familiar feel in the hand. Feels very familiar to Apple's other silicone cases. Definitely more grippy, also compared to the leather case. So I will also be reviewing this case for the iPhone SE as well. But if you are looking for that grip, the silicone case will be the better option. And then just looking closely at how the camera cutout pairs with the rest of the case, you can see the Midnight color really pairs perfectly. If you've seen my iPhone 13 videos as well, you'll know that I absolutely love the Midnight color. It sets itself apart from the usual plain black phones of which we see so many by adding a touch of color, but still being very understated and low-key. At the same time, if you have the red or Starlight iPhone SE, the Midnight case too will pair very well. It is a very versatile color, and especially with those other colors, will create that nice contrast right around the camera module. One thing I noticed compared to previous generations of the silicone case is that this model, much like on the iPhone 13, feels a little bit softer to the touch, so not as sticky. I found that with older versions, for example the version for the iPhone 10 that I had some years back, was actually quite difficult to take in and out of your pocket because it would just be too grippy to a point where it would actually kind of stick to the pocket. With these newer generation of silicone cases, including the one for the iPhone SE, I've not found this to be an issue. Additionally, the newer versions of the silicone case don't attract as much lint and dust, especially pocket lint, that the older versions would. Now on the darker color, especially the Midnight version here, you will still see some pocket lint. It can be easily rubbed away, but it is definitely less present than on the previous model. But if you want a case that doesn't show any pocket lint or dust or anything like that, then I would go to the leather version. Again, I'll leave my full review links below for this case as well. While Apple's cases are not ultra thin, they do only add minimal bulk to the phone, and in terms of fingerprints, I found that the silicone case can show them from time to time, especially say during a workout if you have sweaty hands, but if they do, you can easily wipe them away with a cloth or even with a damp cloth, as this won't damage the texture. And then something I always look for in any case are raised edges. Now the silicone case has raised edges going all the way around the display, so even if you have a screen protector on your phone, placing it down on the display will mean that the screen does not make contact with the table. This is great for scratch protection. And then looking at the back, because the iPhone SE has a smaller camera module compared to, for example, the iPhone 13, there is no need for an additional bump going around the camera. This means that the thickness of the case is enough to make it so that the lens does not make contact with the table when placing the phone down. And this is great because, as you can see, if say you're typing on your phone while it's on a table, it will remain flat. Unlike, for example, the iPhone 13, which of course has a significantly bigger camera module and thus needs that extra portion, slightly raised portion behind the case. And what that means is when your phone is on the table and you're typing on it, you can hear it will definitely wobble, something you will not find on the iPhone SE cases. That's both for the silicone as well as the leather options. The silicone case is also fully compatible with wireless chargers, and in terms of the buttons, while they do remain that soft feel, and I would still consider them to be easy to press, they lose some of that tactile, clicky feedback that you get with the iPhone buttons on its own, if say you were not using a case. And this is because the buttons are covered in the same silicone material as the rest of the cases, so they move with the case. Unlike, for example, the leather case, which actually has aluminum cutouts for the buttons that move freely from the case. So if you want that more tactile feedback, like I personally prefer to, the leather case will provide that better feel. And then looking at the bottom of the case, you can see that this is left entirely open, unlike some other versions of Apple's cases, including the leather and silicone cases for the iPhone 13. Now, while I would have preferred it if Apple had closed this just to provide that extra level of protection on all sides, after using the case for 2 weeks on my iPhone SE, I would not be worried about durability. In fact, I've used Apple's silicone case on my iPhone 13 for several months and it's held up really well. Also, the thin layer of silicone that you get with these cases will also help provide some impact protection in the event that your phone falls and lands on a corner or on the back, for example. Still, it is key to remember that these cases are not designed to provide exceptional levels of drop protection, taking high falls, for example. Instead, these are more meant to protect from day-to-day wear, taking your phone in and out of your pocket or bag. So clearly, there's a lot I like about Apple's silicone cases in general, but also for the iPhone SE. And the question is there any downside? Well, there's just one, and that is price. Coming in at $35, these cases are not cheap. If you are looking for something that is purely functional and that will protect your phone, you can find much more affordable options on Amazon, for example. But what you get with these silicone cases from Apple is a case that looks good, fits perfectly, comes in a range of colors, and also has some neat extra features like that microfiber interior. If you're in an Apple store and you've just bought your new iPhone SE, this is an easy option to buy and certainly one I can recommend. Let me know if you have any questions. As always, I will leave the purchase links down in the description. If you haven't seen them yet, be sure to check out my full iPhone SE review, as well as my iPhone SE leather case review. Be sure to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.